Are you ready?
Are you kidding me? That's what?
Yeah, every so often it happens that Ryan is right.
100% right. Not even a little bit right.
Tucker Pullman, 2 points last game.
No kidding.
My man!
Hey, neither does me running shirtless, but that turned out very well.
Welcome to the PP1 podcast.
Well, this is new. This feels new. Kind of a little bit new. We've been gone for a little bit, hey?
How long has it been?
Well,
We
we did Tuesday. We did last Tuesday. So that's longer than normal. If it's
Okay,
long.
Yeah, it's because we had an earlier week last week.
Because it's like 9 days instead of 7 days. But it's
Okay.
fine. It's long for us. It's long for us. And we haven't even really talked away from the show. So
Yeah,
that's why
also
it
true.
feels longer. Welcome to the PP1 podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network in concert with DraftKings promo code THPN. The Hockey Podcast Network, it is a menagerie of hockey shows, hockey podcasts all across the NHL. There's some Leafs ones. There's some Canadians ones. Heck, there's a Nashville Predators one. And there is a Boston Bruins one, which we really, we support the network, but maybe don't take what they have to say as gospel, because after the Canucks basically decided to relive Game 7, not Game 8, as I was watching today at work, they relived Game 7 and decided to mimic that result with a 4-0 loss in Boston. Thankfully, apparently, I had to miss that game, and it sounded like it was a dud. So I don't know.
So after minutes after a 4-0 loss to the Boston Bruins, Wikipedia is quickly updated.
Oh, come on now.
And it says, Vancouver Canucks established franchise, dates, owner, Boston Bruins.
Of course.
Yeah.
Wow. How original.
Within minutes. Yeah.
How original. I now
it's pretty.
It's good.
It's pretty hilarious. I don't know. Somebody took the time, they just been chomping at the bit, right?
Someone's so petty that they needed to do that, to edit that, and yet there's probably 6 people that are over editing themselves at Vancouver one. That would have been the scenario, right? Guess who's back? This feels like a bigger collision course than Linkin Park and Jay-Z. I feel like this needs to happen now. I think the NHL, you can only imagine how insane this would be if the Canucks happened to go against Boston again for a second time in, let's just call it a decade, but it's 15 years. How amazing would that be? Amazing. Am I right? Yeah. Your camera's decided that you're just looking down at your keyboard, but that's cool.
Well, it's because I'm I'm just posting the live link so we can get the peeps on here.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, You're very good at talking and not moving your lips and looking down, so very good for you. It would be incredible. Obviously, the Canucks making the Stanley Cup in itself would be incredible, but if we get to relive and try to, hopefully the Canucks rewrite the script on what happened the first time, I can only imagine that would be a great time.
It's got to scare the death out of you that
frightens me.
A team like Boston in the Stanley Cup final. We're not even there, but
and they don't suck.
They don't suck at all. I mean, Brad Marchand is still dangerous.
Years later. Mm-hmm.
And is still just an annoying pain in the ass. I think that Quinn and Petey and JT. I don't think that Petey's going to sit there and get punched in the face repeatedly.
No, not this time.
I mean, the team plays a little different than it did back then. This is a different team. I'm not saying that it's a better team.
Yeah.
But part of you is man, how great would that be to have some redemption? And then the other part of you is I want no part of that. I hope
they bury you again.
Get there, so it's not even a question.
Yeah. What if they bury us again? What is that?
Oh my God.
Then the hurts just
it gets your negative juju out of here. Just stop.
But we got to be honest with each other. What if they make this is crazy to talk about, but what if they made the Stanley Cup? And now you're thinking like, oh, like who would they play? And of course it would be Boston, because of course. And we're all going to be sitting here and no one's going to, like, you're going to be able to enjoy the fact that they've made it. And then all it's going to be like, please not again. Like, you can't help but think negative, because that's all this team has ever been to most of us is this almost but a negative. It's frighteningly awesome, and I would welcome it. And I think we've grown a little bit more. We're all mature adults now. I think a lot of us are family men and women now, so we've been able to grow past these things and pass these on to our kids, so now they can know how we all suffer, because inevitably at some point, like, it's going to hurt more than a 4-0 loss in the regular season. This playoff run that they're going to go on, there's going to be some ups and downs, because it's unlikely they run the table.
I love this, like pass it on to our kids conversation. Like, I was talking to them the other day about like, oh, the Canucks traded Kuzmenko, because they don't know who Lindholm
Yeah, they don't
is.
care. They don't care.
And they're like, they did? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, oh, where did he go? And I'm like, oh, he went to the Flames. And they're like, I don't know what it is about that team, but I just don't like them. Like, I'm like,
I'm doing something right.
yes, parenting win,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
up there when you stumble in on your kids and they're like listening to like some Guns N' Roses and Marley, like you did something right,
Yeah. Or like Rage Against the Machine. You're like, maybe not yet.
Yeah.
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 We don't need for you to be killing in the name of quite yet.
Yeah. Killing in the name of, there you go.
Pistol
Well, this
Grip
one's
Pump.
like really into Radiohead right now, which is pretty cool.
There's like a couple songs, but like, I just don't get Radiohead. I don't get it. And
Well, I mean, you were either a Radiohead fan or you're a Blur fan back in the day, but we were all like Oasis fans, right?
Oh yeah, I think everybody likes Oasis in the story, like the fact that you've got two brothers that like hate each other, and yet they're like, we should still crush out an album. Fine.
Or I guess it was Blur versus Oasis.
Maybe.
And Radiohead was just the better band.
Blur just had song 2, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Like,
call it a great song, though.
No, we're going to call it song 2. That's it.
Yeah, that song still slaps. Yeah.
So I've got a few funny things, because I've needed to feel like a little bit more bubbly this week. I feel that, I mean, we're going to talk about Canucks. Let's be honest.
The new Office stocks Ahas, which I was not ready for, but they're really good.
The new which now?
The new Office. Well, I have a new job, right? So
yeah, that's right.
The community kitchen where like the food is just eat what you want in there and drinks are free. It's the old Office stocked bubblies. The new Office stocked Ahas. They're not bad. Yeah. So
when you go, you're like, take one on me.
Yeah. Yeah. No mushroom flavored bubblies.
Yeah. Did you say mushroom flavor? Oh, there you go.
I
had to think. I mean, that in itself is wild.
It's like a microdose of mushroom.
Yeah, he was wrong.
That's why it's in tonic.
That's what a story. If you're going to take anything away from the NHL All-Star game, like, did he say that? He said it at a press conference.
He was joking, like he says he was joking. Like, I have, like my wife works at like a pain clinic where they, do work with that type of stuff, and she's like, no, it's not happening. That's not what happened. And then you hear other guys like,
that's definitely what he had.
I've done a lot of work with Michael Bublé, and he's sharp as a tack, and he didn't seem sharp that night. So I don't know. Sure, he's out.
And then you talk to a few people, like I've been listening to a few podcasts and stuff, or just you kind of hear comments like, listen, I've done mushrooms. I have personally not. That's not my jam. And they're like, yep.
You're more of a jam guy.
I don't even like jam. It's gross. And they're like, yep, he was definitely, he was in one for sure. So good for you, Michael Bublé. Good for you. So I can't remember if we talked about this on the show or if we've just talked it as a friendship conversation. I've also brought up about the skate and how it's inevitable that it is going to come back. There's just too many things. Like, it's just been more and more and more, right? Like, you're seeing all their merchandise kind of pushing almost every one of their like theme nights, like what is it? Black Excellence. There's the First Nations. What do they call that one?
First Nations, Chinese New Year.
Like they're all the skate logo. That Christmas thing where they had the Johnny Canuck riding his Santa sleigh on the skate. Like all these things, I just feel it's inevitable that the skate will be returning. Here's how I think they do it. You come to the game, it's a normal day. It's a normal day. You come to the game, they're skating around, everything's going on. Something just seems a little bit off, though. And, the center ice is, maybe they've got like something in the middle, like a monument of some kind, right? Protecting the middle of the ice. So everybody's doing
Well, at
warm-ups.
that point, you know for sure, right?
Oh, yeah, I know. So, yeah, at that point, it's all bets are off. But then, how they have the blimps that go around and drop like the coupons and prizes and stuff? They drop skates from...
That sounds dangerous.
Yeah, I actually thought about that part too after the fact. Like, it seems like a PR nightmare. Like, oh no, what happened to my jugular?
Yeah, 7 people died.
Yeah, but the Canucks skates back. That's true. Remember, I said, Ted, just bring it back, and people are going to forget about stuff for a couple of weeks. Like, yeah, but not when you kill people.
We're giving the people what they want.
Yeah, literally. So I thought that'd be kind of cute.
Cute.
And then we didn't have an emergency podcast like every other Canucks podcast did, because quite frankly, it was a busy week. And you know what? Let them have their thing. We've now seen a few games with Elias Lindholm. He's a Vancouver Canuck now because Manko is in Calgary and doing great, like we all thought. This Canucks team is for real. They are built. They are loaded for bear. There's probably one more move, maybe two, that this team is going to make. And yeah, I mean, it's super exciting to be talking about the facts. Like the Canucks are going for it, which is something those words have usually been spoken about in like a future tense. Like, man, what happens like when they finally decide to go for it, 5 years from now when they're
not
ready.
like the Canucks are going to go for it and like we're trading for Martin Rucinski for a second time. Like this is legit. This is
they're going for it. Like it's a disappointment if they lose.
Yeah.
Like we're actually expecting them to, I mean, we're joking, but a lot of us probably are starting to get on the thought process of like, I believe the Canucks should be in the Stanley Cup this year. And that should be the absolute most mind-bending thing going on this year.
It's so funny, right? Because like when we went to the Stanley Cup final last time, it was like all of Canada despised Vancouver, right?
Which is great.
Yeah, it was great. It had its own perks, right? But it was so different than 94. And I feel like Edmonton has taken that role on to a certain extent now. Like I was watching
You think so?
I was watching a Calgary-based podcast.
Oh.
And they were like,
way to diversify your portfolio.
Yeah, it was a clip from a Calgary-based podcast.
Okay, good enough.
Let's just get that straight.
It checks.
And they were like, you have one choice of one of these teams has to make to the Stanley Cup final. Who are you cheering for? And it's like Edmonton and Vancouver pops up. And the guy's like, Edmonton, no way, get the hell out of here. This has to be Vancouver. Like, I can't stand enough of this. All we hear about is Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. This is Canada's team, number one team with a bullet, blah, blah, blah. Canucks have been irrelevant for like 10 years. Who cares? They come out of nowhere. Cinderella story. They got a couple of ex-Flames on there. We got a couple of ex-Canucks. It's almost like we're joined at the hip. And it's like,
weird.
People are not like a large majority of Canada. I'm feeling like from like what I'm seeing are like not pro Edmonton because of like this sort of like same treatment that Vancouver had when they were just like back in like the 2011 or whatever, when it was like, this is the golden goose, right? Like get the hell out of here. This is the same reason why, and I'm sure there's lots of like Edmonton fans, don't get me wrong, but it's kind of like the New England Patriot effect, right? Like get out of here, even though nobody from Canada has won since like Montreal. But like, anyways, I thought it was kind of funny. It was like nice to see for once. But yeah.
And at the same time, like, I hate Calgary.
Yeah, imagine having like this terrible tainted team that just has like nothing but bad things going on with it for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden free agency rolls around and you augment it with like a bunch of role players. You don't really sign anybody huge. Yeah. Right. And then lo and behold, your new coach comes in and then you're just like big dig swinging. Like who would have thought, right? That like guys like Teddy Bluger and Pui Suter and Cole and all these guys were going to be so important and so instrumental on
Susie,
this run.
yeah.
Susie, yeah. I mean, Susie's barely played. Like, what happens when he comes back? Which, by the way, in tonight's game, Tyler Myers got absolutely rocked.
Oh, did he?
I feel like should have been a penalty. Took a long time to get up, come to his knees, like was worried about the guy. And it was in that moment where I was like, yeah, we still need to make another trade. We need another right-handed depth defender, somebody who can step in. And I know that Susie's back, is lefty, doesn't necessarily play that side. So I feel like one more trade is coming, and I feel like this might have been Brass's wake-up call to get out there and make another move. So keep your eyes open.
Exciting stuff. Now, here, like you played right into this, Ted, and you have no idea what's going on here. So I love it. So fast forward to the trade deadline.
I'm not even looking at your agenda here. Maybe
I know this is why, like, you're just playing into it, and I love it. So fast forward, trade deadline. Quinn Hughes goes to Calgary, knocks on Chris Tanov's door. Hello, I'm looking for my teammate.
Are you sure it's not hello? Is it me you're looking for?
He goes, hello, I'm looking for my teammate. If this is where it has to happen, this is where it's got to happen. I'm not letting you win without me. How about that? This season, our little team, our organization, had a big year, a really big year. But it wasn't complete. It wasn't even close to complete because you weren't sharing the blue line with me. I miss my D partner.
I don't think he misses Tanov that
much. We're in a league. We're in a league with tough competition. It's tough. Management we don't agree with sometimes. Meddling owners, heck, even a coach we don't understand. But Tanny, you complete me. And then he goes, "Shut up! Just shut up! You had me at hello."
Mm-hmm.
And Chris Tanev joins the Vancouver Canucks.
Is Philip Hronek just Chris Tanev but with offense?
Yeah. Wow, that happened really quickly. That happened really quickly.
Maybe he's not as gritty as Tanev, obviously, right? Like he's not out there blocking shots with his mug, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't see him smoking cigarettes on the ice.
No, that's a Calgary thing.
No, that's a Canuck thing.
Definitely. No, it's a Calgary thing. For the Mika Kiprusoff, the retirement, they're going to hand everybody a pack of smokes for his jersey. Here you go. Okay. Here you go.
Yeah, Tanev's an absolute beauty. The only thing, and let's bring this thing back to reality a little bit. How on earth do they get their hands on him?
Well, the sooner they do it, the cheaper it's going to be. But the closer you get to deadline, I mean, all of a sudden, it sounds stupid, but Chris Tanev is probably going for a 1 to somebody. If he gets moved, somebody's going to overpay for him. And if it's the Canucks, I mean, maybe they say, "Hey, listen, we already hooked you up with Kuzi. No, we hooked you up with Kuzi. Things are going well, but let's do one. Do us a solid. We're gonna trade for Tanny. We're gonna remember this. What do we need to kind of make a move? And maybe we hook you guys up with the draft or something. I don't know. Here's a second. Let's say, I don't know."
I think you're drunk.
I'm this is 4.8. There's no way I'm drunk.
Well, there's no way. There's no way that Calgary does that. I mean, why would they trade now if they could trade later and get a first?
Because I think if Rutherford is serious about getting all of his stuff done before the deadline, I mean, he already set.
You heard the rumors
market,
about,
right?
Yeah, I mean, set the market for sure. But you already heard the rumors about they tried to get.
Yeah, I know, and he wanted to get for something.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't know.
Rick Dhaliwal was they tried to make that happen,
and
it was we'd need another first, right? Or what prospect are you giving it up? So that being said, and I think I'll catch some flack for this, but whatever. If it was Jonathan Lekkerimäki for Tanev straight up, yeah, I'm gonna make that move. I would do that. I would probably be knocking on Calgary's door right now to say that. I like Lekkerimäki, don't get me wrong. And I'd like that he's upped his value a lot since having a really tough year the year before. And, some illness issues and not playing that great, coming back, finishing strong on the year. And he's really bumped it up, playoff tournament MVP. He's playing well right now. I think that's elevated.
sell high.
Yeah, sell high. I think you could. I don't know what they're asking, obviously, because none of us know that shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think if you could get the deal done for Lekaramaki, I think you make that move. Like what I don't want to get rid of, obviously, is Willander and Pedersen, right? Like obviously,
And I think so. That would be like your, your line in the sand. Those two guys, Willander and DPD, are going to be your line in the sand. So you're willing to make one more prospect move.
Yeah,
That
one more
doesn't
prospect
affect
move
the
if meant to get our hands on Tanev. That being said, is there not another right-handed defender out there somewhere, or a guy that can play the other side
on the cheap,
that
or
we
not
can get
necessarily on the cheap, but not going to cost you
on the reasonable?
Yeah, on the reasonable. I don't think that's a phrase, but we should try to make that happen.
And if you're Calgary and you want a first for Chris Tanev, do you want a first in this year's draft that's like not really crazy? Like, and if you're gonna trade to a playoff team,
and they already have the
well,
do you try to get next year's first,
or would you take a first round draft pick who's
Mhm.
had a couple of years of development now?
Yeah,
and is looking like starting to pop a bit.
so
Probably going to be in North America next year. I
was
trade.
gonna say you get a guy on your team within 2 years.
Yeah, I don't look. I like the Lekaramaki thing. This team has a tremendous amount of free agents next year, and those roster spots are going to have to be plugged. It's not going to get plugged by Lekaramaki, I don't think, unless he pulls a Hoglander, which none of us thought would have happened.
And I don't think we want. I mean, he's pulled.
Brady was the only guy that saw that, right? Or no, was that you? That was you that saw that. You said Hogs was going to. Yeah, you said Hoglander's going to make this team, and him and I were like, "You're crazy," and he did.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he's had time to stew down there, right? And I mean,
no,
he
like in his rookie year. I mean,
in his well, they didn't have a choice.
Well, but still, I mean, you couldn't have filled it with a vet, but he played and he played well. So you were right. So it's possible that a guy like Lekaramaki could be on this team next year, but if we're gonna have to fill it with something, and you probably want fodder. I could see Baines getting as one of those roster spots for sure. Pods is going to be up.
Yeah.
But that's another guy that you could possibly look at moving to get your hands on a Chris Tanev too, right?
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean,
Podkolzin should be available, right? I don't think they want to give him up, but
I was going to say, I don't think you move Podkolzin because you finally decided, like, okay, we're going to go the long way again and develop you, give you your ice time. And they've done it the right way, the Hoglander route. And here we are. I mean, now you've got a guy that can come up into the roster next season and get him on the cheap. He's not Kuzmenko, and you're going to be getting a guy that's a little bit gritty, a guy that's willing to dig deep. He's probably going to fit in as a Rick Tocchet guy. I mean, which would be awesome.
He seems like a Rick Tocchet player, like
100%,
yeah.
So at that point, that's where Lekaramaki would. Again, we're talking theoretically, but if you had to pick, like, do you give up a guy who basically would make this team next year, however it looks, whether they go all the way or not? You're going to have to make decisions next year because you need to figure out your cap, because it's not going to be pretty, whatever it looks like. I mean, we talked about Filip Hronek, a month and a half ago, and that whole argument. Now it's like, well, regardless of what he's making, you still got to pay everybody else, because that, everybody's coming to, is it to roost? Is that the phrase?
There you go.
Yeah. Everybody's coming to roost. So make sure that line's long enough. So yeah, it pretty interesting. Like I kind of had in the rundown, like what's left for the Canucks to do. I think we kind of figured that out. I don't think I need to watch the Boston game, but again, you got a game on Saturday that you can bounce back, and I got to start watching the standings, because every time they beat a team that looks like just pedestrian at best, then I go look in the standings. I'm like, oh, they're actually really good. Like when they just handed Dallas, or they handed Carolina, or they handed.
Well, the Carolina game was interesting, right? I mean, because they came after him a little bit, and they kind of just weathered the storm, but like looked fine doing it. Like there was no. Yeah, I didn't really feel myself like nail biting at any time, right? And
no,
Tolvanen had Teravainen, sorry, had well. Speaking of Teravainen, actually, and Tolvanen, that's probably a good comparison for maybe the type of player that Lekaramaki can be, right?
Okay, well that's not bad.
So, are you okay with giving up like a 16 to 25 goal guy who plays some perimeter offense but is also solid? I think if it's going to get me a cup, right, and I can really hedge my bet with a Chris Tanev, yeah. But yeah, they looked confident in those games, and tonight's a stinker, but teams have
Yeah.
stinkers, right?
You know what though? If you're gonna have a stinker, and it sounds weird to say, if you're gonna have a stinker though, have it against the team. Again, it's one of those measuring games, right? Like when they played Vegas for the first time, or they played Colorado. Like have those measuring stick games and have something to remember. Like, hey, we sucked in this game, and that's going to be. We were talking about this at work
Here's
today.
the line.
Like, there's 5 teams I think that in some capacity the Canucks would have to beat or get knocked out. So I mean, obviously you got Vegas, you got Colorado. I guess Winnipeg is going to be a team. Edmonton.
It's funny that
and the Bruins. I think those are all the teams, right? And only one of those would be in the Stanley Cup.
I mean, I still and last night's game or night before last game puts a little bit of an asterisk on that, but I still think Carolina is going to be dangerous.
Okay, and again, if we're talking about Carolina or Boston, it's the Stanley Cup, and at that point, all bets are off, and it's a very different world at that point. Odds are both teams are, they've gone through some stuff at that point. But on the West, there's an opportunity where Vegas plays Edmonton in the first round, or you look at the opportunities, and I think the further it goes, you hopefully, I mean, maybe they get the Cinderella run like it, a la Team Canada and against Belarus. Or the Canucks beat up on Chicago, and we all believe that that's all they needed to do was beat Chicago, and the rest was history. Well, it was pretty close. And sometimes you just need that one win. So you look at who's left to beat, and I mean those are all tough teams. But I'm saying, those are all the teams you're going to be measuring yourself against until mid-April. So if you're going to have at least one game like that where you suck, good. Because now you've got to fire like, okay, we clearly can't, or, we realize we didn't play against a team that we should have beat tonight. Or not should have beat, we should have been in this game.
Yeah.
And there's no excuses. And then they go and, like, who do they have on Saturday?
And like you said too, right? I mean, this is like, these are the measuring stick games. Like you went in there, you got whooped, and now like this is the effort we're going to have to bring to get out of these teams, right?
Detroit and Washington this weekend. Wow, fun.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
10 a.m. and 11. Ooh,
that's not that fun, but yeah,
not that fun.
Yeah, is anybody watching that Sunday game?
No, probably not.
Are the Caps going to be there even?
I don't know.
Imagine
those are 2 workable games.
Washington somehow, like.
Oh yeah. That'd be pretty funny. Like, yeah, we're going to the Super Bowl. Okay. Works for me.
Or sorry, not Stanley Cup. Do you imagine the Super Bowl was in Washington this year somehow? Could you imagine if like they were hosting?
In Washington.
Like
I'll give you some runway for this, but okay.
Yeah, like could you imagine Washington was hosting the Super Bowl that year?
Yeah, okay.
And there's a game on Sunday in Washington.
There's no way they'd schedule that though. There's no way. Like sports cities, like, I mean, who else? So this year's Vegas. So there's no, like, they don't have a basketball team. Obviously the Raiders, the Super Bowl is in Vegas. There's nothing going on with like the Golden Knights. Do they even have a game this weekend? I mean, there's no way they've got a game on Sunday, clearly. Golden Knights. Let's see here. Golden Knights schedule. So yeah, they don't even play now until Monday. So yeah, there's no sports going on in Vegas. Teddy's back. Here we go.
What was that?
I don't know. He just crapped out for some reason.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
No, I got bumped.
I didn't touch anything.
Mm-hmm.
You bumped yourself.
You're like, yeah, I'll give you some runway.
Let's see what you think. That's for taking my book, you jerk.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So no, you were just talking about Washington. Yeah, that's great. Thanks. So I'll let you have your runway of Washington figured out.
No, I just think it would be funny to see like 500 people.
Yeah, well, Vegas, there's no sports. The Super Bowl is the only thing going on this weekend. Vegas doesn't even play till Monday, like at all. No home, or so they must be on their bye week. Oh no, because they played Edmonton.
Right, and that was fun.
That
was a playoff game, man. Holy.
Yeah, and then they ended, and they were, oh, it's too bad. I mean, give Edmonton credit where it's due, and I was like, yeah, that's a shame.
And they were laying. I just left the game, but they were laying a beating when I left too tonight. So
McDavid, who was Edmonton was?
no,
Oh,
Vegas.
Vegas. Yeah, Edmonton. McDavid was not happy in that, and right, he wouldn't be if you lost that game, and like they lost. It was close, and then just like a blurb in the third there, and that was ball game. Vegas wasn't giving it up at that point.
That should be a thing. A blurb in the third.
A blurb in the third. Yeah, we can try to make it happen.
Yeah,
we can make it happen.
I've been trying to make fetch happen for like 5 years. So
yeah, we've all been. We'll cut to a different sport for a second. Who do you got for the Super Bowl? Quick and easy.
I hate this. I hate this. Give me a minute to think about it.
Okay, so I'm going with the Chiefs. I have bet against them for the entire playoffs and even on our other show, probably the last 5 weeks of the regular season. I too am coming to roost. And, yeah, I am going for the Chiefs because, quite frankly, if you're betting against a team that is in the Super Bowl for the last 5 years, I don't know, man. Those are not good odds. And Travis Kelce, and I hate to bring up that name for all you people that are probably sick of hearing that name.
Why? Who cares?
Oh, I'm just whatever. He has been a monster this playoffs. Like 2 touchdowns. He's like almost averaging, I think, like 100 yards a game. And like the guy's getting the rock. Pat Mahomes is looking pretty good. He doesn't look injured. And that's another thing that's kind of kept, the people from thinking that maybe they don't win. Like this team looks lethal. Their defense is like a menace out there. The Chiefs are the team to beat, I think. And I think they're underdogs in this game, if I'm not mistaken. Could the San Francisco 49ers win? Absolutely. CMC got Offensive Player of the Year, which is great for him. Really not a surprise because the guy is a cheat code as far as athletes are concerned. But I don't know, man. Like, how do you bet? It's like same thing as the Patriots. How do you bet against the Patriots when they had Gronk and Brady and maybe they didn't look amazing, but we all know the story of those guys, right? You just know the guys that come to play in the big games and they just treat it like regular season games because that's how good they are in the big games. That's what I think of the Chiefs, and I've bet against that, and I'm not going to do it again.
Yeah, I mean, how many guys have bet against Patriots and just like ended up miserable?
Everybody but the Giants, and
I just think so often the Niners are talented, no doubt, right? The Niners also got whooped pretty badly by Baltimore, and they got stunned and handled defensively by Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Shout out Myles Garrett.
And I know, shout out Myles Garrett.
Stefanski. Right? Shout out.
Man. And I know the Chiefs have been picked on a little bit this year by a couple of teams, right? But I just think that they have all that experience to just fall back on. And at any point, you said it, they can just kind of turn it up. We talked about that on the Fantasy Football Podcast, right? I mean, like, how can you count these guys out, right? And until I'm proven wrong, I can't like emotionally go against the Chiefs. Like, I feel like the better quarterback and the better coach always wins.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I really I feel like that, and especially in today's football. That being said, I would not be shocked at all if this game came down to 3 points, a field goal for either team, and it was won in the in the dying 5 minutes of the game from a field goal that might have been kicked in, like, who knows, late in the third quarter or something like that.
Yep.
And it wouldn't shock me if it was San Francisco that won this game. Wouldn't at all. So I think it's the Chiefs, but I'm not shocked or surprised even in the slightest if it's San Francisco by 3.
I think that's the beauty of this game, is that it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm stoked.
It's going to be, and I kind of said it wasn't going to be that amazing of a Super Bowl only because I don't know what I was thinking or why, but
yeah,
I go against those thoughts because there's guys on both sides of the ball for both teams that are game breakers, that are either nominated or have won awards this year. The Niners defense.
The Niners defense is sick, man.
The Chiefs defense, lethal. Like they're gonna get you. They're gonna get you. I mean, geez, you
They're
get
gonna
Jones
get you.
out- like Jones out there against Purdy. Like good luck. That is gonna be so tough. You're gonna have to see George Kittle as a blocking tight end. You're gonna probably see the same thing from Kelsey as a blocking tight end. You've got Bosa out there. Like everything. It's almost like almost all the pieces like cancel each other out, except almost. I mean, to a degree, the quarterback, even if you want to make an argument for it. Like
Yeah,
there's big pieces on each side, right?
Yeah,
You
game
know,
managers have won. Game managers have won the Super Bowl many times, right?
Mhm.
And I think Purdy's better than a game manager. I think he gets like a little bit pooped on.
Oh, he's a
Which
great
is
quarterback.
crazy
He's
for a
been
quarterback. Yeah,
phenomenal this
well,
season.
I don't know if he's great, but
I think so.
I don't know.
He's
It's
not
fine.
elite.
Look, I
He's
won't.
not elite.
I
Ben.
won't. Not elite. He's not. He's not Baltimore Joe Flacco.
He ain't.
I think offensively that the Niners have the edge in the receivers. That's it. Like that's it. And then I think offensively, you like Kansas City for the edge of quarterback.
Mhm.
And everything else seems pretty much like a wash, right?
Mhm.
So I'm sure that the analytics guys and the Pro Football Focus guys will come out and be like, "Oh, here, and here," but like that's the way it feels when we're
There's
watching
no
the game,
way.
right?
This is a hockey podcast. There's no way.
Yeah, that's the way it feels when we're watching the game. So I'm gonna say that I'm looking at a score of like 23-26, and I don't know who.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, 23, 49 points. Huh.
You can do with that what you want.
Yeah, I'm gonna let that stew for a bit. Anyway, thought we'd get into that. I do feel we need to bring this up, and we're not gonna go on this for too long because in and of itself it could be a very long conversation. The players involved in the Hockey Canada scandal have turned themselves in. They've been charged formally with sexual assault. Not good. I mean, again, there's stating the obvious. What I kind of want to get into, because like I said, we could be talking about this for hours, and we've had this conversation before, and it's a shame that the court systems work the way they do, because this is going to get drawn out, and I hope there isn't a slap on the wrist for this, because it's disgusting. And everything that I haven't heard the whole rundown, but the things I have heard, the meat of
What else do you need to hear?
Exactly. Like what we have heard is awful, and I hope that justice is served. And I don't know what justice looks like in this case, but I do hope that if these guys are going to get punished, and you can't prove it, because I mean, text conversations and stuff, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like you can't prove it, but even if you can prove it, like I was hearing something about even you can't say that it necessarily didn't happen, but about like consent and those things, like the dirty part of all this, where she's coming in there like, oh well, you said it was okay, and it's awful. The whole thing is awful, and one of the worst parts about this, as far as when you dial it back to the professional side of things, is the NHL has decided that the Philadelphia Flyers and the Calgary Flames are getting cap relief because these players have been pulled off of their rosters. So to make this situation even worse, and I'm not saying this is the worst, but they're just adding insult to injury at this point. They're kind of like when was it the Rangers player that died, right? And they got a compensatory draft pick or whatever. They're now saying like, hey, you guys were dealt a pretty bad hand having these players on your team, so we're going to give you some cap relief because we don't know where they're coming back. And it's not your fault. It's not your fault that these players did these things, but because they're not here, like, we're going to make sure that the NHL takes care of you. Like, what a joke. Just awful. Like, what are we trying to teach? They're trying to say that, they go from, I mean, they've got so many other blunders under their belt.
Well, I mean, that's it, right? I was just going to go there, right? I mean, it's just blunder after blunder after blunder, and bad look after bad look after bad look. And it's like, are they ever going to make the correct moral choice here, not based on reaction, based on we made the choice because it's the right thing to do in the moment and it's now?
it's so awful. And I do hope that I hope that proper justice serves, and if these guys are proven guilty, good. Who cares about the hockey and everything else? The Chicago thing, when that happened, I mean, again, they're rewarded for everything that went down there, and
Here's Connor Bedard.
Like,
And
this
that
is
was even
surreal.
crazier because, like, how were they not like, oh fuck, man. I don't know how much longer we want to talk about this for because I think we've raked it over the coals so many times, and like I could just talk about it all night. How do you not penalize an organization and take away their draft picks? And I'm not saying it because it's the Chicago Blackhawks. Like, did you ever watch that 30 for 30? And it was on SMU.
maybe
Like they were doing crazy recruiting stuff, like
I saw the one on
paying
Penn
for kids
State.
to come to the school. Penn State was just as bad, right? Like, not just as bad, as way worse.
And then the Coyotes work out guys in the off season,
Yeah, but I
and
mean,
they get a first round draft pick stolen away from them.
yeah, exactly. That's like, how does
It's
that
lunacy.
happen?
That's lunacy.
You had something taken from you because you broke the rules. You didn't have something taken from you because it wasn't written in stone. We can make a decision about it. Like, SMU was crippled as a program for decades
Mhm.
in recruitment because the NCAA came down on them for doing shitty things, right? How does that not happen to a team like the Chicago Blackhawks? I mean, it's not Calgary's fault that Dubé did what he did, right? But that doesn't mean that you create cap relief because he's off your roster. Like, that's a pretty big no-fly zone. I think it's very obvious. There's a young lady who's, suffering from what happened.
And this was in 2018. Like
And
that.
then you
What's my
see
math
stuff
here?
at this
7 years
point.
ago? No, 6 years ago. 6 years ago, and this is finally coming.
You're telling
to
me
a
the
head.
NHL didn't get out ahead of this and like have an understanding what's going on and be like, what the hell happened here?
No, they did. Remember, they said they did an investigation.
Right.
And,
So if they did, then why are we in this situation? Right. Hockey
mhm.
Canada has like a fucking contingency plan set aside for this bullshit.
Yeah, multiple actually.
So
Anyway, it's a tough one. I mean, like I said, I think it's very
this
easy.
is like, it's a fun conversation to have at your daughters.
Yeah, and we've talked about it.
Why they don't want to be hockey fans.
We've talked about this in our family. You and I both have daughters and obviously wives. And it's a conversation that we've basically said that it doesn't seem to be a bad thing. There's no repercussions for those actions. It thinks, well, great. That's cool for me being a girl growing up thinking like, oh, great. Well, nobody's going to have my back, which that's what it looks like. It's gross. It's really gross. There's no easy way to change over to this, but I'm going to do my best. This is a historical Canucks team, a historically good Canucks team. There are no data models that have been able to predict what the Canucks are doing. They
broke it.
They've broken the internet. They've broken the scoreboard. They've done all the things that these data models were supposed to basically achieve, and then the Canucks actually reached outside and started doing their own thing. So this is a historically special team. And speaking of history, because I felt like I didn't give you a top 5 that was worthy of this show.
Top five.
I like that.
Yeah, it's good. I decided I want to redeem myself, Ted, and make this show just it's going to be a bit of a segment. So I would like to get back to what makes us fun. And I decided, what better way to build a historical team the way it's been built? But what if we literally built a historical team, each of us, based on a question that I threw out yesterday? So I have a list of about 12 historical figures, and we're each going to build a hockey team.
A whole team, or like
a line?
Okay,
yeah.
a 5-man line.
Five plus a goalie. Yeah.
Okay.
So
okay.
I figured, you know what? Why not?
You have to write these names down. I feel like
I did. I am
post them in the chat.
I'm going to save this and I'm going to share it with you, Ted.
Oh, you can't put it in the things. I don't have access to that doc right now, so you have to put them in the chat.
Oh, okay. That I can do. So there's a few I missed, but that's okay. So we're gonna go.
How am I supposed to select them all if they're missed?
No, like there's a few I missed from the Twitter chat. So we've got General Tao, we've got Aristotle, Napoleon, which I spell wrong, Stalin, interesting one, Obama, Nikola Tesla, Leif Erikson, who is a Viking, I believe, Abraham Lincoln, that's a fun one, JFK, Joan of Arc, Popsicle Pete, I thought that was funny, Joey Ramone, Magellan, Martin Luther King, Leonidas, Catherine the Great, Michael J. Fox, Genghis Khan. I think we have 12 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Wow.
6. So this will be fun. I didn't have a special graphic for this, which usually I'm good for. But we're going to make this work. So I'm going to give you're going to have the first overall draft pick. If you're watching,
I don't know who I'm picking. You're screwed.
I forgot to tell everybody we do have comments live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. So if you'd like to comment along, we're more than happy to include some of your comments in here. I feel like I know who you're going to take first overall, and you have to explain where they're going and why.
Okay.
I'm going to give you. It sucks. I know who you're taking because it's like you're ruthless.
Yeah, like it's it's a 2-horse race.
Oh,
maybe a 3-horse race for first overall draft pick. And if I get to take first,
I'm a nice guy. That's why.
Yeah, then I'm gonna fucking take King Leonidas. Are you crazy?
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Why would I not take Leonidas?
Okay, that's a pretty good pick.
Sparta. Like, I mean, we're talking about one of the greatest warriors of all time. All-out offense, absolute powerhouse. Like, he's probably going to be my first-line center. I mean, I can't... Look, I'm sure you're going to take Leif Erikson, and that's great. But I would take Leonidas over Erikson in a fight any day.
Wow.
Sorry. Yeah. I don't know. So I can't get 300 out of my mind. Like 300. Those Persians, man. Mm-hmm. Everybody. Like, okay, so number 1 with a bullet. King Leonidas.
Spider, so Napoleon is not good with ice and cold. That's good. That's actually really good.
Yeah, good point.
Napoleon is as good as he was in war. Maybe not great on the ice. Great pull. Okay, so I'm gonna go with Genghis Khan.
Okay, good pick.
I think dude's led some pretty. He's led some pretty good campaigns. I think maybe he himself isn't exactly like the guy that would be.
This isn't a popularity contest.
Yeah, he's not going to be the guy, but pretty intense dude.
Huge.
Killed millions. He's savage. I mean, it's probably pretty awful. History wasn't my strongest suit. But I'm going to go Genghis Khan. And
it says that he was actually only about 5'6".
Yeah, he's like a shorty. He's a shorty for sure. But I'm going to put him back on defense. So he's going to run the power play. We're going to have I was thinking maybe box +1, but I'm thinking he probably commands the overload. So Genghis Khan is my first. Man, this is so messed up, but I love it.
Okay.
So like, it's just like, these are real words that are going on right now, and I really don't know how I feel about it. Figure it out. Fire away.
Okay. Well.
It's just.
I feel like I have to. This is. I feel like I have to, especially with all the Swedes that have played here over the years, and all of the Scandinavians that play on this roster. I feel like I have to take Leif Erikson.
That's a good pull.
If I have that warrior in Leonidas and I pair him with Leif Erikson, I don't really know what Khan's going to do. And I don't know how you stop that. And I'm just going to say that he is a defender. No, I'm not going to say he's a defender. I'm going to say that he is also, because we're always going to have the puck and we're always going to be in the offensive zone, that
Okay.
there's no need for defense. Leif Erikson, first line, right winger. I'm just going to assume that he's, I don't know what hand he is, but power forward. Whatever happens from here on out, you're so screwed. Sorry.
It's like someone's gonna have Michael J. Fox as like their top winger. It's gonna be weird. I guess. I mean, I was kind of toying with this, but I think, quite frankly, like my top line center. I mean, this guy is a nasty piece of business. He is. I mean, you talk about the Legion of Doom out in Philly. This guy is just doom, really. Joseph Stalin, not a nice guy.
This is like the tank commander. Maybe that's
This
your
is
power forward.
this guy. You don't. I mean, I really don't want to get into the details of why I'm excited to have him on my team. Not the right words for sure.
For theoretical fake history person's hockey.
If this game were to exist somehow, I mean, Joseph Stalin is probably an absolute monster on the ice. Like, this is like as the worst version of the Boston Bruins you could think of. And then he's like spearing guys literally with a stick and like barely getting a 2-minute minor. So Joseph Stalin is going to be my top line center. And I have no qualms about that. It's very good for me.
Top line center Joseph Stalin. So he's gonna have to face off against Leonidas. You
Yeah.
can't have guns on the ice, so we should be okay.
It's gonna be. He'll like poison you or something. He'll like lift your stick up and like do like the face wash, and then he'll get like some kind of poison in his face or something.
What, do you have like Tesla in it, like Nikola Tesla?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the scientist.
Not the car. Yeah.
And
here is if you win MVP.
Yeah. Okay. So we're pretty open here, right? I mean,
that's kind of a sucky one though. It's like, hey guys, I got a good idea how we can score goals. Like, we're all killing people right now.
I am gonna take Joan of Arc. So I am gonna complete the trifecta of the greatest warriors in this Earth's history, and I'm gonna pair Leif Erikson.
Oh man!
And Leonidas with Joan of Arc. So this is. I mean, I know you were talking about Broad Street Bullies a little bit earlier, and I'm not sure what kind of talent she's got, but I'm assuming she's fast and she's good with a weapon in her hands. Obviously, an incredible leader, and she's not going to have to carry the burden because she's going to be flanked by a couple of like absolute beasts. Again, man, I'm seeing your future not being super bright here with this forward pairing or forward trio of Joan of Arc. Who else do I have here? I can't even remember. Joan of Arc, Leonidas, and Leif Erikson. Like, this spells trouble for you. I don't know what you're going to do from here on out.
I want to make sure that I've got the spelling right on this one person.
You know what? I'm going to make Joan of Arc my center.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's this is a tough one. So I kind of want. It
doesn't really matter at this point. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm because I want to spell this right. General. Is it? How do you spell Tau? Is it General Tau?
It's like T. Well, I mean, General. That's like the. It's TSO.
I think so.
Right, but not like the chicken recipe.
And that's what's really throwing me off. I'm just trying to make sure. Like I said, history wasn't my strong suit, and I'm not going to take the chicken.
Yeah, the military leader in like the 1600s, right?
Like, I feel like I need somebody that is going to be.
It was Zhong Tang, and I don't know how to say it correctly. My last name is Wong. I feel like I'm going to do my best on it.
And you took Joan of Arc, did you say?
I took Joan of Arc, yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna go Catherine the Great.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna, and I think where did I have her? I was gonna have her. I think I was gonna put her on defense as well.
I mean, if you've got, you know, you've got the modern day ruler of Russia.
Yep.
Somewhere up on your forward, you might as well pair it with one of the emperors of Russia, right?
Yeah. So I'm gonna kind of have. She's gonna be like my Dustin Bufflin. So I'm gonna have. She'll be like hybridy. So it's gonna kind of come up. She's gonna, get involved a little bit there. But still can play back. Like, man, this is so weird.
What the fuck did you get us into? This is.
I have no idea. I have no idea, but I'm loving it. So, okay. I think you're up.
Okay, well, taking Martin Luther King.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So not only is this team chock full of dangerous goods, it's got absolute leaders of men.
Okay.
So he's going to play D. He's going to handle his business. He's going to distribute the puck.
Yep.
He's going to lead from the back end. And man, these guys are going to follow because they believe in the cause. Martin Luther King.
I like that. That's a good pick. That is a good pick. But even though this is an interesting one, and again, I'm going to do my best here. So I got, Catherine the Great. You got Joan of Arc. You got Marty.
You're going to have to post this later, our two teams, and then you're going to have to ask the people who won.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah. You might not need to.
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one. I am going to go with man, I am like torn here.
Can I trade you? I'll propose a trade.
I'm listening.
I'll trade you the next pick. I'll take your next pick for the next 3 picks.
No.
Okay.
No, because I know you. This doesn't.
I'm trying to make it fun. If you don't like fun, it's fine.
Let's just give me a second. Just give me a second.
Who came up with these names? This Popsicle Pete one's killing me.
Yeah, I had to throw.
Oh, I forgot Abe Lincoln is there too.
Just chill. That's what I'm thinking. I'm torn.
Obama is an athlete as well. You fucking.
No, I can't take you up on your trade. Maybe what do I got? So I've got who do I got? Stalin, Catherine the Great, Genghis Khan.
You've got Russia cornered. So.
I basically have communist Russia locked. So I do need someone up front though, and I have to. Honest Abe, Abraham Lincoln. That's gonna be that's he got shot, but he was willing to be in the line of fire for his country. Abraham Lincoln, pretty serious piece of business. He's fought some wars. He's done some stuff, abolishing slavery, expanding power. Like this guy, like he's making things happen on the ice. Like he's a little, what the heck is that virus threat? No.
Oh,
good. He's so good. I mean, he was a lawyer. Just an absolute unit. So I'm going to have a Honest Abe as my left wing. No, was he right wing or left wing?
He's your left wing power forward because he scored 7 years ago.
Yeah. He's oh man, did you say 4 score in 7 years?
I said he scored 7 years ago.
So fitting. You know what? It's funny that actually fits tonight, and it also like how great is that? So, like I said, I was talking about how this is like a Boston Bruins type team. Very fitting. Very fitting. They're gonna skate onto the ice, and it's just everybody's gonna go like 4. Yeah. So messed up. Okay, you're up. So I've got So let's just recap here.
Okay.
So I'm going to do my team. You'll do your team. So I've got, like I said, Genghis Khan, I've got Stalin, Catherine the Great, and Honest Abe Lincoln. So I got 4. And who are your 4?
So I've got Joan of Arc flanked by King Leonidas and Leif Erikson, Viking warlord.
Mm-hmm.
And then so far I have Martin Luther King, puck distributing defenseman from the corner. Maybe he's not a puck distributor. Maybe this guy can like bang a little bit. I'm gonna think he does. Smart tactician, never gives up the puck.
He has a dream of winning the Stanley Cup.
He could be my Philip Hronek.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So there's a handful of names like General. No, I didn't take General Tao or whatever his name. So he's still on the board. Aristotle's still on the board. Napoleon is still on the board. Napoleon's maybe he's learned his lesson from the cold. And he's a feisty piece of business too. Good with a gun.
Yeah, Spider Soul. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think Joan of Arc does have to be my captain. Like, I don't know how there's any way around that.
Chris, we'll get into the Canucks for you before the end of the show. They dropped a turd today, and I've been struggling in that department this week. Any tips? This is a poop question. Well, I can answer this.
I can help them. Just get a squatty potty.
Just get some bran and a squatty potty, and you're good.
Get some bran and a squatty potty.
Yeah, done. You'll be done by.
Take some time.
It's 9:30 right now. You'll be done by 10:30.
Get the reels. Read an article. Get those legs up. Squatty potty. I know that might be hard. Our buddy Chris Phillips, PP1 Ballhawks, Thano Fantasy Sportscast. He had hip surgery. So yeah, we're getting old. We're getting older. Our guys are having hip surgeries now, but he made his way through great success. We talked to him throughout the day. He's running amok. That's going to be no time before that guy's in rehab and crushing it at the gym and stuff. So I can't wait to go hit a couple workouts with him.
It's so funny. So Chris and I we beak at each other pretty good. Like we dish it out.
Chris speaks at everybody.
I know, but we go, yeah.
That's the best part about him.
He's good. He takes no prisoners. So we were joking around, and he had his little post the other day. I said, "You are indeed the oldest friend I know who is younger than me." Like this guy is like his body looks like he's just gone through the ringer. He's had like every possible surgery, and he's like what, 36, 37, 38.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys have played sports a lot harder than I ever played them, so that's why my body's in peak.
He's a lacrosse player too, so I'm sure he's taking a beating. This Spider Soul is freaking hilarious. Like, you've drafted all these Russians, and he's like, the other team just disappears mysteriously with Ryan's team.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Genius.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. The finesse you needed to balance the brutality.
I think that had to be my Martin Luther King pick.
It probably was. Yeah, it probably was. So you've got one human left. Sorry,
I've got two picks left. I need another defender, and I think I'm gonna.
Oh wait, we need a goalie and we need a
maybe a coach.
No.
Yeah, I think there's enough players here for us to grab a coach too. So screw off. We're grabbing.
I mean, do you want me to add a few more names to there?
Oh, there is enough names, is there not?
There is. I'm just saying, like, if you want, I can add. There's a couple names I probably left off here. But if you've got someone,
is there not enough names on that list to get a coach?
Yeah, there probably is. Darwin, I left off. Did I add JFK in there? I think I did.
Yeah, JFK's in there. There's
Gandhi,
enough.
Cleopatra,
little Mahatma. Okay, so I'm gonna make my final player selection. Skating forward, not a forward. Skating player selection. Can't talk.
Okay, that's fine. I'll allow it.
And it's gonna be the only man on this entire list who's probably played hockey before.
Oh, come on.
I'm taking Michael J. Fox. I'm going
Marty
back
McFly.
to the future. It's Marty McFly.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, same physical profile as Quinn Hughes. We know the guy can dash. We know that he spent years somehow managed to beat up on Biff.
Yeah.
Good on a skateboard. We know he's got incredible balance. Clearly, he knows how to distribute. He can go back in time, see where he's supposed to make the pass, come back, skate the game, make the right
Yeah,
play.
I don't
It's
like that.
over. Time travel has literally set me up to win this whole fucking thing, Ryan. You don't have a chance. I'm so sorry.
It's like, no matter what happens, you'll find a way. Like, I might not win the first 80
Yeah.
times, but I will
Unless
win
you
them.
unless you steal the almanac and go back and change history, and it's the 1980s, and somehow you end up with Gretzky, it's over. Michael
Mhm.
J. Fox paired with Martin Luther King Jr.
It's a nasty piece of business.
paired with King Leonidas, centered by Joan of Arc, and power forward Leif Erikson. Oh man, if I get a goalie, you're so screwed.
This is so ridiculous. But Spider, you and I are both thinking definitely along the same lines. And but you know what? I'm really torn because I know you're gonna take this person if I take my other person. But I'm gonna have to risk it. Yeah, I just got to beat the snot out of you somehow, and I'm gonna go with Napoleon.
How are you going to do that? How are you going to beat the snot out of me?
I'm gonna go with Napoleon. He's my Theron Fleury.
Oh my god.
He's my Theron Fleury, so I'm gonna put him on right wing, flanked with who did I say on the other side? I can't remember. Who did I have on the other side? I'm gonna have to listen back. Oh, didn't I have Abe Lincoln? I got Abe Lincoln on the left. So I've got I've got Napoleon on the right. And then Catherine the Great, Genghis Khan on the back end, both those. I'm happy with where that's so far. And then I think I've got it figured out for goaltending, but you're up anyway, so
Okay. So who's left? We got
the General,
Popsicle Pete,
Joey
Joey
Ramone,
Ramone,
Magellan.
Tesla,
Oh yeah, Tesla.
JFK. So there's I feel like there's some good coaching options here too.
It's awful. This is just JFK's a goalie.
You know what? I'm going to do something a little off the board here.
Oh boy, top shelf. No, we actually prefer that.
Guy that gets shot at the whole game.
Like, we're really sorry about the irony here.
Yeah, unless there's a second shooter, I'm gonna be fine. I think if I take JFK as a goalie, but I'm not gonna
slap pass.
Right. That's really good. I'm gonna select my coach first because I'm pretty confident it's available for goaltenders. And
no! I know where you're going with this.
Aristotle is my coach, so he's gonna map the shit out of this thing. Ultimate tactician.
No, my bet.
Greek philosopher, polymath. You're screwed. Aristotle is the coach. It doesn't really matter who plays goal at this point.
Okay. So just amuse me for a second. Had I picked Aristotle as my last pick, who would you have taken?
As the coach?
No, just as your next pick.
Oh, I'm fucking not telling you. Get out of here.
Would you have taken Napoleon?
I'm not telling you. No, I was not going to take Napoleon at all.
So I really wasted a pick there.
He's 5'3". You wasted 2 picks because he also took Catherine the Great. He's 5'3". And the Spider Soul said,
"This is so stupid.
He's not good with ice and cold. So why would I do that?"
I don't know.
So doesn't matter who you take. I have a good goalie set up. I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Man, I feel like I just need my team rounded out. No, I don't. The coach itself.
There's no rounding, but it's over. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I beat you into this corner so bad.
This is not looking good.
What were you thinking? Who was your first pick?
My first pick.
That was a good pick.
It was a good pick.
Yeah.
Didn't I go Catherine the Great as my second pick or Stalin?
Yeah, it was Stalin.
Yeah, that was a pretty good pick too.
Yeah.
I mean, lethal if you think about it.
Yeah.
This is a weird one. It's only weird if you make it weird.
It's awful to suggest JFK as a goalie.
Ask not what your goalie or what you can do for your goalie, but what your goalie can do for you. Oh man. This is actually tougher than I thought. You know what? Because it's so ridiculous. My goaltender is going to be Joey Ramone.
Oh yeah, I mean, hey, why not?
Yeah.
Why is
Hey.
why is Joey Ramone your goaltender out of the
I don't
available?
know.
choices?
Just like he's a bit, he's just a bit of a different version of what the rest of this team looks like.
He's
He's a
just a
little,
bit of a different maker.
yeah, he's punk. He's against the establishment. Plays by his own rules, which most goaltenders do. Joey Ramone. And if things don't go well, he's going to be sedated. So
Or he's showing up sedated.
that's probably more likely. So now you need a goalie and I need a coach. And
really
you can't add Thanos. He's not on here.
I'm torn here. I'm torn between selecting Popsicle Pete as a goaltender.
And that was the tough one. Like, that's who I was thinking.
Yeah, because he's already huge, right? It'd be like if somebody had put the Kool-Aid Man, that's my goalie.
That would have been awesome. Although you take one shot.
Could have been my power forward too, right?
Takes one shot to the chest, though. He's done skis. So
yeah, and that's a good point because a popsicle could just be broken in half.
Mhm.
So I'm gonna take. Do you smell that?
I don't.
Do you smell what Barack is cooking?
Oh,
That's right.
44.
Barack Obama, goaltender. I don't know whose team this is or what it's called, but
That's a great pick, Ted.
yeah, fella on the pod. Barack Obama, athlete, absolutely an athlete too. So,
Chicago resident, former Chicago resident.
yeah, whatever. It's gonna be great. Like I just got athletes all around here. It's gonna we're led by Aristotle. Like if you were to put this against any team in history, I'd be worried for the other guys. Honestly, your guys might not even make it out of the first period because it's gonna be murder, death, kill.
Okay, all right. Listen, I got
you got what?
Genocide coming out of the yin yang on this.
But you don't have an army.
This is an awful thing to say. Oh, my parents are going to be so ashamed of this, but that's fine.
Yeah, just don't show them. It's okay.
It's probably for the best. I need a coach. You got Obama. Man, I mean, it's between the general and JFK, honestly.
Yeah, well, you got Magellan still.
Yeah.
Every team needs a Ferdinand.
Not Magellan.
You also have Nikola Tesla. Maybe you take the scientist, the mad scientist.
But man, JFK, what a leader.
Yeah, JFK.
Like, what a leader. He was cool. America just absolutely loved. He was a difference maker. If he's going to get the best out of these horrendous people on my team, I think JFK might be the guy. I'm going to give him a shot as my coach.
Can you give him a shot?
Yeah. Tough crowd.
Okay, so there you have it.
That is so sorry, who is your captain?
My team captain?
Yeah.
It's Joan of Arc.
Joan of Arc, okay. You know what? I mean, I could see Catherine the Great being my captain. I think that's a pretty good pick. Genghis Khan was my first pick.
Maybe, you know what?
He said it. You got to wait a year. You've already handed up the seat.
No, I'm not going to do that. No. Martin Luther King's going to be the captain.
No, I'm still sticking with Catherine the Great. She's a great captain. I mean, her name starts with a C. So does Captain.
What a fantastic empress.
Yeah, this was all kinds of messed up, and I'm glad we took a journey into history to create.
It was a journey.
Two of the greatest, not actually hockey teams of all time, and I feel like this would be fun on a lot of other sports. I mean, baseball would be really tough to do. It's like, who's a power hitter? It's like, who's hitting to the alley? We don't need to get into that. We do not need to get into that. But it was a lot of fun. Wow, what a great show. The Canucks are doing well. They lost 4-0 to the Bruins. So we're all going to remember that until they play Detroit early on Saturday morning. And then they've got Chicago the next day. Hurrah, no Connor Bedard. So I'm sure they're super excited. That'll likely be the game where the Canucks show up big time, I think, out of the two of them. For some reason, I think they could even lose to Detroit on Saturday.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that there's going to be. I think there's going to be a big bounce back. I think Talk's going to be pretty pissed.
I would be.
I think JT specifically is going to be pretty pissed. He was pretty bad on both those goals.
Okay. I'll have to watch the highlights. There won't be many, but I'll have to watch them. It was sure fun watching Game 8 at work today. Had it on my other screen. Man, that was hockey. Like that was about as like that was just hatred wrapped up, and it had been pent up since June, and they played in January. 6 months, 6 months, and everything felt as if it literally was Game 8.
Yeah, it was a riot.
It was a riot. Smashing glass, it was awesome. And bar down, Coho, what a game. That was probably one of the best ever Canucks games. Unfortunately, it was worth 2 points. Yeah, this was a lot of fun. I don't know. I don't have much left. This is the PP1 podcast. We've had a lot of fun. We hopefully let you learn a thing or two on this show about history and how awful it was. And we're just glad you came along for the ride with us. Big shout out to Spider Soul. Thanks for coming by. We hope you subscribe to our podcast, our Instagram, whatever you feel comfortable. We would appreciate it because we try to have a lot of fun. Obviously, Ted, your Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it, as well as mine. Lots of good times. Yeah, thanks for coming by. We are, as I've said before, brought to you on the Hockey Podcast Network, THPN, a menagerie of hockey shows, hockey podcasts, good friends of the show. Trust the Process. They just dropped their latest episode. They're back and running. They're just as busy as ever. Make sure you check out those guys. Good buddies of the show. They've got lots going on. Then obviously our show, the number one Canucks podcast in the land. No one else is saying it. We are. So unless someone wants to take that mantle, we're going to own it until then. So on behalf of my good friend Teddy Wong III and his new podcast studio, looking great, by the way.
Thanks, man.
I am Ryan. Hi. I have a man bun. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. Hopefully all of your bets are true and you're rich after this weekend and you're sober enough to go to work on Monday. Peace out.